YouTube, what's going on? I'm gonna make this quick video real quick, man. Shit. Trying to get comfortable. Hey, after talking to some guys, I'm the kind of person, I'm a control freak. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to my money and my life and knowing what I need to do to go about my day, my week, my month, my year, I'm a control freak. So, with that being said, like, in a situation where you booking your own loads, man, either be Schneider, Interstate, or Roadrunner, Mercer, or any company that allows you to book your own freight, where you can look at the loads and go through and nitpick the loads that best for your business. That's very important, because that allows you to have total control of your business. You know what I mean? So, to me, I don't understand how, like, guys, have their own truck and then have a dispatcher. You know what I mean? By a company. Now, it's a different thing, like, to have a dispatcher, right? Like, if you got your own authority and you got your girlfriend or your wife dispatching you loads. Now, that's something else. But you gotta excuse I ain't shaved in a week. It's been a while, but I had to get this video. It was on my mind. So, for like guys who got their own authority, whatever, that's cool. If they got their girlfriend or their wife booking their loads for them. But if you got a big company, and you got a dispatcher giving you loads, dictating when you go home, you got to ask them when you want to go home. You got to ask them all this and that and this. You got to ask for a home time. That don't make sense to me. Like, when you running your truck, either you leasing a truck or whatever, owner operator, you got your truck paid for or whatever, you need to have total control of that truck. If you want to sit for 2 days, sit for 2 days. You don't need to go through no dispatcher who looking, talking to the planner for you, and they tell you some bullshit saying, oh, it ain't no freight. Let me tell you something. On the Schneider board or any broker board, there's always some freight. There's always some fucking freight. Don't let no fleet manager tell you that bullshit lie, got you sitting for a day or two, or put you on a load with all this extra time. You know what I mean? Like, they got you running 300 miles, right? But then the appointment 2 days from now. That's not feasible. That's not business sense to run your truck like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. So, when you able to book your own loads, you can look at your clock and decide, okay, I can take this load, I can run this load, I can put 2 of these loads together, and that'll equal up to 11 hours of driving, 50 hours of driving, 20 hours of driving, whatever the case may be, because you're booking the loads, you're calculating your time, the best time you need to keep your truck running. You know what I mean? Like, when you got a fleet manager, they don't know how many hours you got. You can tell them, but you know what I mean? Like, you got to communicate with them real good, and it's just, I don't like having a fleet manager. So, this is kind of my rant on booking your own loads and having a fleet manager. And I don't agree with guys having their own truck, either be leasing the truck. I'm sorry, I'm watching this guy over here. He closing his doors on his truck. But it's kind of my rant, because I was talking to a guy. He was just like, nah, man, I don't like booking my own loads, man. I let the fleet manager do it. But the thing is that, like, on any board, I can go through the house anytime. All I got to do is find a load that's going through the house. You know what I mean? Like, I'm home every weekend because I schedule my loads real tight enough to where the revenue coming to the truck at the end of my 70 hours, that last load is sending me home. You know what I mean? I do that. I book my loads that way. It don't make no point for me to book loads going far away from the house, running out my 70 and taking a 34-hour break in a city that I don't live there. If I'm gonna take a 34-hour break, I'm taking a 34-hour break at the house. You know what I mean? Like that, it just don't make sense. But when you're dealing with a fleet manager, you gotta request time off. You gotta request shit. Oh, I gotta take my truck in for a PM. You gotta tell your fleet manager, yeah, don't put no load on me. It's like, no, man. Like, the last 3-4 weeks, my truck, I've had my truck service. Nothing major, but it's just routine maintenance. And I schedule all that myself by booking my loads, and I took my truck in for a PM. Got the filters done on my 34-hour break. I dropped the empty trailer at the yard, and I took my truck to the Speedco, got a PM, 2-3 hours. I was back to the yard, and I went home and finished my 34-hour break. You know what I mean? The next week, I needed to get a alignment. I got a 3-axle alignment. Sat up at the shop for about 2-3 hours, got the alignment done, took my truck back to the yard. This past week, I got some steer tires put on. Now, imagine if you had a fleet manager, and we all know in trucking, if you was to have a fleet manager booking your loads, and you tell your fleet manager, hey, I got to put some steer tires on, you can't really schedule around that, because you're not looking at the loads. Like, I can book loads where, like, if I'm gonna take my truck to the shop and get a PM, I can book loads with the time that I have between those loads. I can just find a load with some extra time on it where I can go and get a PM about 3 hours and still be on time for my load. When you have a fleet manager, it's hard to communicate that kind of time constraints. You know what I mean? It's really hard to do that. And my whole thing is with this video is just a rant on, like, the differences between being able to book your own loads and having a fleet manager. Like, booking your own loads is a lot of work. You know what I mean? It's more work, but I like having that power. Like, I like having that flexibility to manage my time and bring revenue to my truck. You know what I mean? It just don't make sense. And I talk to guys, it's like, yeah, man, my dispatcher, man, she gave me this load. I'm sitting at the customer for 20 hours. Like, really? Like, why would you book that load? Like, when I go on that load board and I book loads, I'm looking for loads that are dropping hook, because the load board will tell you whether a load is dropping hook. I'm booking all dropping hook loads. If I take a live load, because I want to. It's no surprises. The load board tells me the weight, how much revenue to the truck, how much is paying per mile, appointment times, is dropping hook, live load. It tells you what type of freight it is. It tells you, it don't tell you the customer, but it tells you a lot of information, so it allow you to make your decisions on whether you want to book that load or not. And especially on the Schneider board, it's like Schneider has a large customer pool. So a lot of these loads pop up on the board every week, the same customers. So it's like it's almost running a dedicated account almost, because the same loads, the same customers pop up on the board every week. You know what I mean? they're getting new customers all the time. But my thing is, this video isn't about to push Schneider's board. It's more on the lines of my rant on, you know, having a dispatcher versus booking your own loads. Either, you know, being on a Schneider Choice board or Interstate or Landstar or whatever, Roadrunner. Being able to book your own loads is very powerful when you responsible for making a truck payment and you got bills at the house. Like, I remember when I was a company driver, there have been times where I've gotten loads where I get to pick up the load ain't ready. Or it's not that the load ain't ready, the load don't pick up until the next day. I still got 5 hours on my clock to run. That don't make no sense. On the Schneider Choice board, if I get to a customer and the load ain't ready till the next day, I can jump on that board and see if I can fit in a load, 100-mile load that's picking up around, you know, real close by. I do that all the time. They allow you to fit loads in between other loads, you know what I mean, to maximize your time. Ain't no way I'm gonna be sitting on this truck for 5-6 hours. Ain't no way when I could be bringing revenue to the truck. I do it all the time. As a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago that happened to me. I booked the load, and some way or another I got to the load before the load. I dropped early, and I looked at my clock. I still had like 5-6 hours on my clock. So I got on the board and I looked and I seen there was a load 100 miles away from me that picks up and comes back to the same customer I was at. It would have been like like 5 hours. So I went 2 hours to pick that load and brought that load back to the same customers that I was at. That was $400. The load paid 130 miles, but round trip it was $400 to the truck. The load paid about $250, $260 a mile or something. That particular load to go 139 miles for $400. Now in a company driver situation, you wouldn't be able to do that because the load board is live. So whatever's on the load board right now, that's what's on there. I can scroll through and say, oh, I want that. Click it. And the load will come to the Qualcomm. All the load information come to the Qualcomm, and I go get the load. I don't have to talk to no broker. I don't have to sign a load com sheet, a rate com sheet. I don't have to do any of that. I just hit the button, go get the load, like 2 seconds. You know what I mean? It's just that fast. And it's just like, guys don't understand how powerful it is to have a load board. And like I'm gonna tell you the truth, like I work about 5-6 days a week. A lot of guys run real hard 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. I don't work that hard, man. Like I work 5-6 days and I go home, and total revenue to the truck be good by, you know, generating anywhere from $3,500 to $4,500 a week gross revenue to the truck. You know, after taxes, after fuel in the truck, and deductions, insurance, truck note, and everything. It's good money, man. And it's just like I maximize my time out here. You know what I mean? So like, I really don't understand, and I don't blame guys because they don't understand the power behind being able to book your own loads. You know, so yeah, guys. I just wanted to make this video real quick, man. You can leave messages down in the link below, and just make a comment and talk shit about the choice board if you like it. If you don't like it, whatever. But hey, I'll see y'all around.